excited about the topic today. It's one of my favorite topics is anything relationship oriented because in our lives, what matters most are the relationships that we have with the people that are in our lives. We're very, as humans, we're just very communal. We need people, we need relationships. That's how we can thrive and feel and live a meaningful and fulfilling life. So not to get too deep down the weeds from a philosophical or touchy-feely perspective, but relationships matter. That's the bottom line. So the more that we can learn how to enhance and improve and grow our relationships, the better sense of well-being and happiness and satisfaction we're going to have in our lives. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. I want to talk to you a little bit about CapEx sales. Our focus is helping to pour into our customers and offer value in a way that helps them to grow and develop their skills so that they can deliver more value to the companies that they work with. And then ideally, as a result of them increasing their ability, can command more income as a result because they have increased their value through hopefully some little bit of what we've been able to offer here in our communication. So we want to continually be adding value to our customers. What we do, we represent ATC Automation out of Cookeville, Tennessee. 85% of our business is with repeat customers every year. That says a lot about the quality of their equipment, the follow-up, the customer service that they have, second to none out there in the automation industry. Cincinnati Test Systems, the largest leak test company in the world. It's crazy to say that. I started with them back in 1995. I was a customer. I was a manufacturing engineer at Cummins Engine, and I bought an I-21. And that's how my relationship with Cincinnati Test Systems began back in 1995. And since then, I started representing them in 1998, and I've been selling with them ever since. And so we were a small company back then, and it's been fun to watch them grow and be a small part of their growth over the years. Duquesne Plastic Joining, they are out of St. Charles, Illinois. They are a very large plastic joining company. They do ultrasonic welding, hot plate welding, vibration welding, infrared welding, hot gas welding, all things welding. If you need to join a piece of plastic to another piece of plastic, then we are the company that you can turn to. Symetric is a division of Cincinnati Test Systems, but I break them out separately because they're more focused on the Internet of Things and focused on data collection, data management, helping companies utilize data to improve their manufacturing processes. That's really what they do. Then Keller Technologies is right here in Fort Mill, South Carolina. They have a comprehensive line of air filtration, industrial air filtration. They do wet as well as dry filtration. All right, so today we're going to talk about what I call the 4 C's of relationships. And so the idea here, that the core concept is, have you ever thought about how a meaningful relationship is formed? So you want to develop, and they develop and they strengthen over time, right? So when you meet somebody for the first time, now there's a connection that often occurs, but that is the starting point. That's the starting point. So you have that initial connection, but these relationships, the more we pour into them, the more we invest in them, and the more we go through these 4 C's, then the better our relationships become, especially ideally with people that we can relate to, that we connect with, that really help to give us a sense of well-being and value. So I've learned that this 4C concept is every relationship that we have has in common. So hopefully this is relevant and practical for every relationship that you have, whether it's personal or professional. Right. So that's the foundation. So now let's talk about the 4 C's. Number 1 is connection. So we begin the relationship, we make that initial connection, right? So you might have something in common, maybe a favorite football team. Maybe you meet at a football party where the Buffalo Bills are playing and they win a game for the first time in 25 years in the playoffs. So maybe that's the Cleveland Browns. But so you meet someone and you've got that in common. That's that connection that you initially make. And then it turns out you grew up 2 towns over from one another. And then the more you talk, the more you are able to build that connection. So maybe, yeah, like I mentioned here, sporting events, coworkers, parenting groups. Maybe you went to a sports team for your kids. That's obviously that's a common connection, at least at the age that I am right now, where you got kids that are going to swim, and well, when you actually could go to events, but you meet other parents and you begin to connect that way as well. So we often have something in common. That's obviously a part of that connection process. And so what we what we need to realize and recognize that we have the opportunity to connect all the time. And our ability to make connections are all around us, but we must be open to those connections. I see people often that they have their arm out, they stiff arm everybody they meet. Maybe they have a sense of that person's going to try to get something from them, or they don't want to be vulnerable to get to know or connect with another person. But for any of us and for all of us, if we show up open and willing to connect, there are opportunities all around for us to connect with other people. Toastmasters is one place where you can go and connect with people that, if you're growth oriented, they're like-minded. There are just any number of different communities and places that you can go to meet up and meet new people. So the first and easiest step, this is really easy. Nothing, you don't have to invest anything in this initial connection. You got nothing to lose for this initial connection because you didn't have anything in the first place. So connection is the easy part. The next step in the progression of a relationship is collaboration. So this is where we begin to go a little deeper. And I believe that the fundamental aspect of collaboration is trust. So the trust is this is where the trust begins to build, because we're collaborating, we're exchanging thoughts, we're talking about things that are meaningful for us, or maybe expressing ourselves, or maybe there's something that we're working on together. Maybe we call and we ask for feedback on something. So that is how we begin to add value to relationships. I talk about value all the time. I think it's fundamental to us as human beings that we understand the law of value. And the law of value is that there's always something being exchanged between two people, and it doesn't have to, and it's not often money, right? So we exchange way more in our relationships as far as value outside of monetary. And oftentimes our mind goes to money when it comes to value, but the value that we are able to deliver in a relationship is largely based on our what we have to contribute and how we can, and then that's in that collaboration of the relationship where we deliver value to the other person. So we begin to assess the long-term potential of the relationship during this collaboration phase, right? So we're working together. We're past the honeymoon phase, if you will. So you first meet someone, you make that connection. Gosh, we got so much in common. They're amazing. It's so fun. Now I'm not talking about the opposite sex relationships here. I'm talking about just relationships in general with anyone, with someone that you have things in common with. So, but then, when you're in this phase, you can begin to feel that trust, that sense of, I would like to know this person better over the course of time. So you got to make sure that you watch out for the takers. And this is where during this collaboration, this begins to show up. You'll have people that pretend to want to collaborate. They pretend to present themselves in a certain way. But we must be, I hate to use the word guarded, but we do need to be guarded, or not naive as to what the person might potentially be pursuing. So if there's I want you to hesitate if it appears as though the person you're attempting to collaborate with is more focused on what am I getting, instead of what am I giving, because you want to be involved in relationships with people that are going to collaborate in an open way and be willing to give back and give to you. So again, I mentioned that trust is the foundation of every aspect of our relationships. It's going to determine how far and deep and intense those relationships get. So that really, again, gets established during the collaboration phase. Now we've got the contribution phase. So contributing to another person in a meaningful way, this is truly magical, right? So we've connected with them, we've collaborated with them, now we know them. So when we know somebody, we can truly begin to contribute to them, not financially, but as far as giving them value. So we know that someone enjoys something, they enjoy seashells. And so we happen to see a seashell that they might like, and we purchase it and we give it to them. That's just a random concept there, but that can be, you're thinking about them. And when someone receives something that is intentional from us, then that contribution to the relationship again begins to really deepen the relationship. So it doesn't have to be giving someone something, but thinking about them, maybe texting them if their mother is sick, or someone in their family is sick, or if they are sick, or if they're going through a tough time. That's that we're contributing to them in a meaningful way, because we want to begin that. When we are contributing, that's when our relationship really begins to thrive. So both parties are focused on the success of each other, right? So if we are avoiding the takers and we are focused on people that are going to lift us up and that we want to lift up, then we're going to have two parties that are focused on mutual success. And man, there is no end to where you can go when you have a relationship that's built on mutual benefit. So that is harmony. I call this resonance. So when two people resonate with each other, when there's resonance, that means that they're vibrating. So resonance is vibration, and they are synchronized in their vibration. So two things are resonating. That means that they are harmonized in their connection, and they're moving in the same direction or vibrating on the same frequency, so to speak. So we see this in all kinds of relationship, teams, marriages, friendships, businesses. So again, this covers the gamut of all of our relationships. Now we've got commitment. So commitment is where we've gone past, we've connected, we've begun to collaborate with each other, and then after that, so we want to move on to the fourth element here, which is commitment. And this is when we begin to really have that deep relationship. So it happens naturally. It's not something that we immediately go to or go for. When someone does try to go for this after you make a connection and then they try to go to commitment, we are immediately suspect. We don't go there. It's not something that we are just naturally comfortable with, because they skip the steps in between for building the relationship. So this is where our loyalty, our faithfulness, and our trust reside. So the highest level that we reach in any relationship, in our personal life or with our businesses, is in this commitment phase. When we are committed to the relationship, there's no further point to go in the relationship. So we are truly have the other person's best interest in mind, and these committed relationships are able to make it through the tough times. If there's a challenge in the relationship, if there are things going on that are undermining the relationship, because the commitment is there by both parties, they're able to work through those challenges. So again, acts of violate, they violate the trust, they breach the integrity. But if the relationship's committed, if it's long term, if it's been established, then it's going to be able to work through those challenges. We've got the boundaries that get set up. So we learn the boundaries of the other person in those relationships, and we're able to work through them, work around them. So there could be a gradual breakdown in the relationship, or an immediate. So it's important that we be cognizant, we be aware of the relationship and what's going on in the relationship, so that if there is a gradual degradation of the relationship, we're able to resolve that and talk about it. If it's a committed relationship, then each party will be committed to open dialogue, open communication, adults talking to adults, right? Saying, this is what I'm feeling. And then as a result of that, being able to correct any challenges that need to be resolved. So it takes a lot of work to restore a relationship. I know I had a friend that we became business partners together, and then after that didn't work out, but we maintained our friendship and relationship. Then I wrote an article, and that article was really for me more so than anything else to kind of let it out, to let my thoughts and feelings out in an article, not intended to point fingers or poke anybody in the eye or make me appear, be self-righteous in any way, shape, or form. That article got published, and the person, my partner, saw that and was really upset with me, and breached breached the relationship. And so I learned many things in that. I learned I'll never do that again, for number one, to be more intentional or observant as it relates to those things. That was one thing I learned. But the second thing that I learned was, when you make a mistake in a relationship, it's really important that you raise your hand and you say, "Hey, I'm sorry." So immediately, when you know it, when you see it, when you sense it. When I saw that article, and I read that article, it was one of these Wednesday reboots, actually, many years ago, and so when I read that article, my first thought was, "Oh no." I was I had that sinking feeling, but instead of picking up the phone and calling to say, "Hey, dude, let me talk to you about this. Let me tell you what happened," and it's on me. Didn't intend for this to get published, but it is, and I'm sorry. And so had I done that, that would have helped maintain our relationship, but I didn't. I didn't do that. I was in a cowardly way. I was hoping, burying my head in the sand, hoping that it went away, but it didn't. And so I've personally been working hard to repair that relationship, because I love the person. I mean, he's a wonderful dude, and someone that I just adore. And I mean, adore is probably the wrong word for a guy, but enjoy being around. I mean, we laugh, we have fun. He's just a card. He's a character. So, but anyway, my point is that it is much easier to maintain the integrity of a relationship if we are quick to admit our mistakes and say, "Hey, I am so sorry. I apologize for that." And not in an insensitive way, and not as, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry," but a sincere, "I am really sorry for what has happened." That goes a long way in making sure that the relationships don't break down. Okay, so let's summarize here. Connection. Stay open to the opportunities for connection. They're out there. The world is, I mean, we got what, 6 billion, 7 billion people on this planet. There are plenty of people for us to make connections with. Collaborate. So this is when we begin to add value. This is the foundation of where the trust starts in relationships. Contribution. So shared values and mutual support. Shared values and mutual support. So important that we begin to contribute to each other. That is, and then it's almost like a three-legged stool, and then commitments on the top of it. But so we respect the boundaries and we reinforce trust. That's what we do through that commitment phase. So genuine effort is always important if we want to maintain. So we need to maintain the integrity of the relationship. We must be genuine, and then mutually, mutual understanding and growth. So that connection. Hey, you know what? We may not always agree, and hopefully we don't, because that's where all of our growth lies, is in the disagreements, in where we are. The iron sharpens iron, where we can continue to grow and get better together. So that concludes today's 4 C's of relationships. Hopefully you found that to be something that would help you in your relationships long term. Remember that you can practice this internal to your organization. You can practice it in your personal life with your friendships and your family relationships. So I want to encourage you to really step out there and focus on building relationships, because relationships are the foundation of a life lived with fulfillment and meaning. So what other topics would you like for us to cover here in these industry casts? We want your feedback. We want you to input here so that we can make sure that we're bringing content that's meaningful for you. So again, thank you. Thanks to all of our customers for your business. We are grateful. We got Mike Dorsey in South Carolina, Chris Mullins in Eastern North Carolina and Virginia. And my name is Russ Sorrells. I cover Western North Carolina and upstate accounts here in South Carolina. You have an amazing day. Look forward to seeing you on time, 11:30 next week for the Industry Cast. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.